What's up, everybody? Got a great show for you guys today. You could see the picture. It looks better. The audio sounds good. We got the speakers.
Okay.
The technical team's been doing overtime work. They've been putting in the work. Got to shout them out. But what's up, everybody? I'm Micah. Man, that Black Panther, they dropped another trailer. That shit looked good. Namor was looking good. And then they finally answered the question, who Black Panther will be. No, she looked a little feminine. That's all I'm gonna say. But what you got for us for the intro?
Why are you making assumptions on gender, Micah?
Oh, my fault. Gender fluid or whatever, however the right terms are. We're allies over here.
Okay. Well, this is Jay Huff coming in over here. Just finished watching the 49ers LA Rams game. Super disappointed with what the Rams look like this year. And I think they went all in. They got their bowl, but this team, present day, is not impressive.
That offensive line looks worse than the Bears' offensive line. Shit.
At least we can run the ball.
Sacks. Yeah,
You feel me?
Except for when we play the Giants, they were a little stout for us on that run game wasn't cutting it. But we got a great show for you guys today. We're going to talk about some college football, some NFL, going to talk about all the games that happened last night, and then some NBA's back at preseason. I know we don't want to admit it, NFL season, we're in grind mode, just football, but preseason NBA is a serious deal. Let's not knock that down. A lot of guys are coming back. Jamal Murray played tonight. Kawhi Leonard's playing tonight. So we're going to get into that with our two other brothers, your favorite guests, man. Julian and Jacob, they're hopping on the show today. Can't wait. You ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
Now we're back. Got our special guests, your favorite special guests, our brothers, Jacob and Julian, the twins. But couldn't pick a perfect guest to come on the show because we got a great topic for you guys. College football, Minnesota alums. Perfect time to talk about the Big Ten. Minnesota lost to Purdue. Illinois rocked Wisconsin. As it looks right now, Illinois might be winning the Big Ten West. What do you guys thoughts on that?
Don't get crazy now. Well, I mean, Illinois
4-1.
They got Bielema coaching. I could see it. Minnesota only lost because we weren't playing our Heisman candidate running back. We also was just, I don't know. We had problems on offensive line and shit.
Purdue's a tough, risky team, though. Like everybody loses to Purdue at least once every couple of seasons. Like it always comes.
Spoiler makers, man. They spoil everybody's season and shit. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that was a bad matchup for Minnesota, anyways. Especially if they gotta put up points in a short amount of time. And you can only run the ball for so often if it gets into a shootout.
Well, I feel like they came out in that game very, very flat. I don't think one player should be able to determine. I don't think the pendulum should swing that far when you lose one player. Granted, it is our best player, but when you look at the film prior, everybody was really from every position group was playing well, and you just didn't see that this past game. So I don't know what happened. It seemed like we lost our leadership piece rather than, just one player, which obviously is a factor. But, I mean, got to be other leaders on the team to be able to rally around going into a game like that.
But you know what? That game kind of showed me the importance of having balance in the offense. And it really showed that having Momo out, which Muhammad Iram, he's probably going to be of the top running backs in the country this year, certainly one of the best players on our team, if not the best player. But when you got a guy getting in 25 carries a game, and you only then subsequently run the ball 15 times, you can't expect to win, especially if you're trying to control the clock, if you're trying to dominate on all facets of the game, and it's just not a recipe for success if you can't run the ball.
Nah, you definitely can. And that's Minnesota's identity, just running the ball. They have a great offensive line, great backs year in, year out. But looking at this Big Ten West, it's kind of wide open though. Wisconsin's struggling, Northwestern's losing to just about everybody. So if you had to bet who would come down to in the end, Minnesota, Illinois, Iowa, who would you pick?
Going back to Illinois, I mean, they look like a good team. They got a really, really good running back. They about 60-40 run. Chase Brown, he's a guy who could end up being in the Heisman candidacy if they win the rest of these games going into the end of the season. Beat Minnesota, beat Iowa, beat Nebraska, and with that, I mean, they could be scary. They could win it. I mean, Iowa wasn't too convincing. Nobody's really that convincing in the West. But you got a coach who, Brett Bielema, who, man, he's good. We played against him. He's a solid coach who knows who he is and he knows who his team is, and he's going to live or die by that. So that's a scary combination, especially going late in the season with the running attack that they can muster up. I think they're definitely a favorite right now.
Yeah, quick turnaround for Illinois, though. Last year, a couple years ago, we seen this Illinois team compete for some, bowl opportunities, 5 and 7 teams. But looking at them, they're competing to win the Big Ten West. Big shocker there. Great success for them. I like the Bielema hire. Was a good hire a couple years ago, but we're seeing it so quick and early in this. Exciting.
Very exciting. And you look at Minnesota without Ibrahim, that's what's going to be the biggest question mark of who wins. I think a healthy Minnesota takes the West, but
yeah,
if Ibrahim isn't there, that's truly their identity, is him on both sides of the ball. And when you got a solid run game, everything else can flow from it offensively. So if they don't have that, I like Illinois to represent the West.
Okay.
In a blowout against Ohio State.
Not to win the Big Ten, just to represent in the West.
Yeah. Julian, you can attest to this. Deep in the end of the West, when it gets down to it, it's tough to count Iowa out. It's tough to count Wisconsin out. I mean, even though they just fired their guy, I know we're going to talk about that a little later. But we've seen rejuvenations from firing, and teams kind of rally around their guys that they like. Maybe they didn't like the head coach. Maybe they got tired of him. And, maybe Wisconsin does end up showing their head at the end of the season.
Now, we talked about the Big Ten. Let's shift over to the SEC. Georgia, the number 1 team in the country. They won the championship last year, and now they're struggling. First, it was last week against Kent State, barely beating a MAC team. And then this week, barely beating Missouri by squeaking it. Like, what
was down the whole game?
Yeah, who's the best team in college football now? If it's not Georgia, you see other teams struggle in that top 5. Who's the best team in college football right now?
I don't give a shit about nothing you just said. I mean,
damn, you doubt at all?
I don't give a shit about none of that, man. They got the best team. They got niggas. They got dudes from deep in southern Georgia that can ball.
Could play football before they could walk.
Right. That's just what they do. I don't care. I still give me Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, just win, baby. That's all it takes. If they lose to them, what are we talking about? I know. To the fuzz and to the media and to the coaches poll, all of that. It matters for sure in the college football playoff. All of that matters. The end score. But man, winning football games. I don't care who you're playing at a high level. You're playing these teams who recruit too. They compete too. They get meal prepped. They got families. Hey, winning football games is hard.
There's a big difference between a millionaire defensive lineman at Georgia and a motherfucker all scholarship at Kent State lined up across from them.
Well, you know what? I think that brings up a bigger conversation about how the transfer portal has subsequently changed college football, in my opinion, for the better, considering the fact that you had all pro or blue chip guys sitting on the bench at Georgia who now have a clear opportunity to play 40, 50 snaps a game at Kent State. And that's just sort of a pseudo example of what I don't know if anybody from Georgia is playing in Kent State, but I tell you, some people are. And I know we've gotten a bunch of guys on the portal in Minnesota. And what I think it is it's just evening out sort of the college football landscape. And I think it's for the better. You don't got 5-stars sitting on the bench at Alabama, or situations where you got,
you still have that.
No,
you definitely still have that.
The Alabama quarterback, he went down. Bryce Young got banged up, and then the backup quarterback ran for a 70-yard touchdown the next play.
Okay, but explain to me this. Would you see a possible scenario where you have a guy like Joe Burrow sitting on the bench for 4 years in Ohio, and then subsequently going to LSU, creating one of the most high-profile, high-prolific offenses we've ever seen in college football? He could have been doing that the whole fucking time.
That's true. You bring up a good point.
Very good point. And yeah, that's a clear example of why the transfer portal is a good thing, because these kids are making huge decisions off little to no information, especially if they don't have nobody around them that's been through that scenario before. And they're making decisions based on emotion oftentimes, because that's what happens. And then to be able to realize you made a mistake and go somewhere else, I don't see that as a bad opportunity. Motherfuckers do that every day in corporate America. Like, oh, shoot, I'm 3 months into a role and I'm like, oh, the culture ain't what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Let me get up out of here. So
yeah, I mean, even if they were 100% informed on everything they're walking into, culture's changed, man. Coaching staff leaves, like you just said.
Exactly. Like, the guy recruiting you could bring you in, and your day one, he talk about, got to do his best for my family. I decided to take a position.
Right. Why can't I do his best for my family? Why can't I leave a college if a coach who recruited me at the college decides to leave? Why can't I go with him? Why can't I make a decision that's best for me? And I would have transferred had I had the opportunity. But I wouldn't say that. I mean, different situation. We'll see what would have happened. But yeah, man.
I think the more that they still want to control all these athletes, just like the NFL, they want to control. I mean, that's just when you got so much money flowing in and out. That's the main purpose. I mean, look at the NBA. I mean, they got far less control, and I don't really know where I'm going with this point, but
wherever you was going, we was gonna follow you, though. Wherever you was going, we was gonna follow you. Yeah. Shit was too deep.
But now, so we talked about quarterbacks. We talked a little about Alabama, Georgia. Let's talk about an Alabama quarterback that's in the NFL right now. Big controversy. Now, the Dolphins, they played Tua in the Thursday night football game. And sadly, he probably got another concussion. He didn't look good. So what did we think about how the Dolphins handled this situation? And what did you think about when you saw Tua go down again?
It's sort of sad. And take whatever I say as a grain of salt, because I think it's sort of an exaggerated point, but I think this is sort of seeing the beginning of the end of what we believe to be our favorite sport, the amazing sport. I don't believe that the game itself will end. There's too much football there's too much money in it, but the sport we know to be football, it's going. They don't have a choice. They have to sort of deviate from the violent and the aggressiveness of the sport. They just have to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I got a buddies whose older brother, Marion Barber, just, on the street acting as if he was a crazy homeless person, even though he's a millionaire. Played 7-8 years in the NFL. And he has reported, or teammates of him has reported, seeing him on the street and being visibly afraid of their life. Like shit is not great, especially when we like actually are exposing these stories of things and people deviating, people taking their lives and shit like that. It's like at some point we have to look at ourselves and say, is this shit really worth it?
Exactly.
Now, like take that for a grain of salt, but I don't know. That's just kind of how I saw this whole situation.
Well, it's tough too as a competitor. Look at Tua's situation. Everybody knew that wasn't a back injury. I don't care what nobody says. That
Fuck out of here.
There's no fucking no way you can get slammed. You have shoulder pads on. Those plates are protecting your vertebrae and your back muscles, all of that. That's not the concern. The concern is your vertebral lobe on the back of your fucking head.
Okay, talk your shit.
And I mean, I should mention I work for a football helmet company.
Riddell.
Okay.
So, shout him out.
So you got a biased opinion, is what you're telling us.
These are conversations we have. We just had at a sales meeting recently. And
Okay.
it's we're doing things as a company to kind of make people more aware and make coaches more aware and things of that nature. However, it's a violent game. You're gonna have head injuries. You can make the perfect helmet in the world. You're never gonna prevent a concussion. It's just not gonna happen. Pretty much because you have 300+ pound men running full speed at each other. It's just you're gonna have head injuries. You're gonna have injuries all over the board. I think it's more of a testament to the player specifically because look at Tua's situation. I mean, he was falling over after that hit. I'm talking about the first hit. He's falling over, clearly uncomfortable, and he decided to go back into the game. Because at the end of the day, it was his choice to go back, and that's the competitor.
Are you blaming the victim?
Blaming. It's not the right answer.
Tua is very susceptible for concussions. You see the way his head hit the ground the first time, and he just got kind of pushed. I mean, it wasn't a very violent.
Yeah, he's light in the ass. He's an undersized quarterback.
His neck strength is terrible. The way his neck.
Oh my God!
His back hit the ground.
These guys are gonna get us canceled, Micah.
Most people wouldn't get a concussion on that hit. I'm just put that out there. On the first hit, the second hit, everybody's getting a concussion.
That's really blaming the victim. I'm just pointing out that we are all competitors. We're all gonna want to go back out there, and there's really nothing you can do about that. I mean, there's been many times where I've been hit like that, maybe less or maybe more, and wanted to go back out. It's just the game.
It's fair. Now, Tua's taking a lot of head injuries. CTE is a big thing. Let's transition to somebody who possibly may suffer from CTE. Antonio Brown posted a photo with Tom Brady's wife. Put that shit on was a caption. What do you think about this shit? And Tom Brady brought him into his house, let him stay there. Is Antonio Brown fried for this situation?
First of all, my girl is Brazilian, and forget all the football shit. Giselle is like a fucking god to them out there in Brazil, like literally a queen. And
put that shit on.
And a lot of people in Brazil right now, they think that Giselle was that photo that wasn't photoshopped. They think it was real. So, like, you just got to realize, like, how much of an effect this has across the world, man. It's like, it's ridiculous. It's kind of disgusting, to be honest.
It's a tough time too, because Tom Brady and Giselle are not on good terms right now. So having one of your old guys do that to you,
I don't think they give a shit because he's got CTE too. So
probably
it's just doing some more circus shit per usual.
Yeah, I mean, he did it just so that we can talk about it right as we speak. So I mean, like,
yeah, he just
so long as his name is in the tabloids and in newspapers and shit, he don't give a fuck. It doesn't matter what he does, or it doesn't matter what kind of code he has. He's just gonna sit up here and do whatever he can to make sure his name is out there. And it's kind of pathetic to me because I just don't think he's just that he's a talented person outside of football.
he's not.
He's
entertaining. His songs is all right.
His songs are not that bad though. Put that shit on. You put it on a couple of times. It sounds a little good.
It's a whole vibe, no bap. So
right.
I just think it's him just trying to stay relevant, be a clown. I mean, we should be talking about him flashing his glizzy at to an unwanted pedestrian. So that shit mad creepy. Come on, man. They need to lock his ass up for that.
Could have gave him the Brittany Griner time. Give him 9 years.
Come on now.
Do some hard time.
Flashing people in a public pool.
Yeah, at this rate, I don't have a shadow of a doubt in that he will be behind bars within the next 6 months.
Now let's talk about some more NFL talk, but more serious stuff. Well, not the Tua situation is serious, but the AB situation. Let's talk about more serious games that happened yesterday. I mean, Giants Bears. Now we're going to talk about the Bears. Let's talk about the positive in this game. The Giants getting the win. Brian Daboll. The Giants got their coach, I think. But now with this team being 3-1 and being able to win games like this, all right, can they make the playoffs? What are you guys' thoughts on that?
It hinges on Saquon staying healthy. I've said it before, say it again. You know, he's just the most explosive player in the history of football. And, well, I shouldn't say the history of football. Because I think he's top two. I think
he can be. I think that's his potential.
It's Bo Jackson and it's Saquon. It just is. In terms of explosivity, in terms of on the field quickness, strength, just football speed, everything. So if he stays healthy, and one thing that you see sort of common in these explosive backs, explosive people in general, is they get hurt a lot. It's just like a commonality in football. You see it with Christian McCaffrey, you see it with Saquon.
It's in a curse.
Bo Jackson was out for the rest of his career after one injury. It's just a problem with these guys. But like you said, they got a coach now.
Daboll's that man.
Yeah, Danny Dimes is doing his thing.
Barely.
He's one of those guys that's just like sneaky fast. You don't even like think about him.
Yeah, he's
in the run game,
fast.
And that just hurts you.
What do you think about what is it? I'm trying to think of his name. It was Charles James. Somebody on Twitter made a tweet saying that he's Josh Allen without the weapons. What do you think about that? Is that a little too far?
Hell no, because when he tries to actually throw on the run, he ain't hit nobody with no accurate ball. So if he was Josh Allen, he wouldn't have threw that thing 13 times on Sunday.
That bootleg was nice though. Shit.
I think it's.
I mean, damn, that was a bad defense on us.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of an overblown situation when you're talking about a quarterback and their weapons. I don't necessarily think that a quarterback without weapons couldn't succeed. And what I mean by that is you can throw somebody open. Take a situation like Joe Burrow. Now he has weapons, so maybe that's not a great situation. Great.
Arguably the best, the deepest team weapon wise.
Let me pivot.
Yeah, they got dudes.
Well, I say that to say that if you have a guy at quarterback, he's the exception to the lack of weaponry.
I agree with that. I think, yeah, a lot like your quarterback should minus all the stuff you don't have. He should make everything look a little better. And, see Aaron Rodgers with the weapons he has. They don't have Devontae Adams, but he's making Lazard look good. He's making Dobbs. Dobbs is having better games. He's looking like potential there. So I get what you're saying.
I think for me, it's you got to look at it two ways. The quality of their offensive line and the quality of their talent. A good quarterback can overcome one, but not both. You can't have no fucking receivers like the Bears. We're in a conundrum because we have no talent and we can't pass protect. So not only can niggas not get open, they can't get open quick, and therefore we can't throw the ball because we can't hold long enough for Justin to do something with his legs. But you've seen on Sunday when we actually pass protected, nobody was open, but Justin was able to create with his legs. So if we can pass protect, I think that's a step in the right direction, and that's where we need to start because the talent on the edge ain't getting no fucking better this year, at least.
It's not, unless we make a trade for Kenny Galladay. Nah.
Nah, we ain't gonna pick up his current contract. We need him on a new restructured boy.
Okay. But now, yeah, the Bears are 2-2 right now. They have been struggling in every facet of the game. So what are some answers you guys think they should do? Some things they can work on to get better defensively? Does every coach doesn't need to get fired? What do we need to do for the Bears to play better?
I think we need to stop being so one-dimensional. Like, we're pretty predictable in terms of run, play action, run. I mean, and when we do spread it out, talking just offensively, when we do spread it out, we can't give Justin Fields 2+ seconds to get rid of it. So I think it starts in the offensive coordinator room. And I think really when our offense starts working, our defense is going to be able to feed off that. That's just my opinion. But, and it's not all everybody else. Justin needs to, continue to progress and grow and, make the right decisions. And that's what it's going to come down to.
But being one-dimensional, in my argument, would be that's a sort of a consequence to a shitty offensive line and a quarterback that probably cannot consume an entire playbook in terms of being able to know everybody's responsibility, know that the guy has an out route on 3rd and 10 and be able to hit him. And then also you have the bottleneck situation where your quarterback and wide receivers are not in rhythm together. They're not. That's one thing you can say about Aaron Rodgers. That motherfucker always made sure, no matter who he was throwing the ball at, he knew when they were going to be open. Not only did he know that, but they knew that, and they knew when to be ready to catch the ball. So that's the problem we have right now with our offense. Jaden mentioned getting open quickly is a luxury not talked about a lot. Like if you can get open immediately like Devontae Adams does so effortlessly, that's such a benefit to the quarterback play. And on top of that, you look at our offensive line, I think we have the worst center in the history of pro football. No, I'm not even joking.
Why you calling my man's out? I ain't never heard that one before.
Hey, he gonna block you on Twitter, bro. He's blocked everybody on Twitter that's talking shit about him.
Oh, and he's soft?
That's the only thing he's blocking.
I do. He be getting his ass thrown. And he has the last game versus the Giants. You know what his PFF grade was in pass blocking?
What? Don't tell me a 0.
It was worse than anybody has ever recorded, ever.
Good
It
God.
was 1.4.
And this is
Dexter
the guy who
Lawrence.
touches the ball just as much as anybody on the field.
Yeah. Dexter Lawrence was having a
That's a
field day,
position you
bro.
can't have the worst one at.
Yeah.
A score of 35 is like in the red. Like that's a shitty score
Right.
in PFF. This motherfucker had a 1. A 1.4.
Damn. So to answer your question, Micah, go ahead, Jacob. What you think we need to work on?
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, I think we are very one-dimensional. We got to find what works, offensively and defensively. But like Julian said, yeah, we're kind of limited in terms of talent and what we're able to do. I think that's a testament to what Matt Nagy was trying to do. Remember how we were sitting down talking about we think he's doing too much? Well, he was doing too much with not enough to back it. And, maybe Eberflus is kind of ahead of the game in that and just waiting to get those added pieces. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, to win right now, it's going to be tough. I mean, we just don't have really an identity.
So would you say this week's going to be tough to watch then against the Vikings? Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, all those guys coming in?
You look at their ability to not stop the run this year. We've given up some big performances, and then you got to go against Dalvin Cook and Matson, and then play action with Justin Jefferson running across the field. And
Kyler Gordon's gonna be guarding them too, possibly.
So they might mind fuck us, especially with our young secondary on some of those play action crossover routes they'll be running. So it could get ugly, but traditionally we play the Vikings pretty well. So if we could get to Kirk Cousins, I think we have a chance. But if we can't and we can't stop the run, it's going to be a long fucking day.
That's another thing that killed us against the Giants. We couldn't get after Daniel Jones for some odd reason.
Well, we let him do whatever the fuck he wanted when he decided to run. And those plays that they tricked us on, those bootlegs, it was just one guy, it was too many dicks in one hole, or they were in man and two guys are on one man, and it's just like nobody had the quarterback, and he's just running scot-free. And we made the adjustment too late. And when we did, you've seen, I mean, the bright thing about the Bears defense is we have yet to give up a second half touchdown this year. So
man, hats on that.
Once we get the offense rolling, and this isn't a this year solution, I think number one, we have the third best rushing team in the league so far.
Mm-hmm.
So we have an identity where the last couple of years we couldn't even fucking run the ball or pass the ball. At least we can do one good. And then defensively, we got young talent, and we're playing well. So once we get those pieces next year, I think we'll be good. But this year, we're just
here's a question: can you win games
building a
modern
foundation?
NFL? Can you win games in the modern NFL era by just running the ball and playing defense?
Depends.
It depends how you're running the ball, because you look at San Francisco, they can still do it. You look at the Eagles. I mean, they're a bit of a unicorn because the way they're throwing the ball is like insane too. And the Ravens. So those are the teams I look at. And even, Indianapolis last year. So I think it's still prevalent, because when you are able to run the ball so well, it opens the pass game up so much more. But if you don't have a difference maker at quarterback, you ain't winning no Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think we still are in the pro style, 12 personnel, older school, kind of outdated offense, which you can win with those for sure. Can you win Super Bowls? I mean, it's tough, man. I've always been the type to love that type of coach to implement that, to run the ball, control the clock, 80-20 possession rate. But, like you said, the Eagles and the Ravens, they have that newer style run game where it's all spread, 3 receivers on the field, and all 11 people are, you got options with all your skid players. Like with Lamar can run it. He can run 80 yards down the field. It's tough.
Now, we talk about great defense, great run game. This team possibly has a little bit of both. The run game has gone downhill a little. Ezekiel Elliott, they've been struggling lately. Tony Pollard's a big, great addition to that backfield. He's been doing his thing. The Dallas Cowboys probably have the best defense in the NFL. Cooper Rush is that guy too. He's winning games. Do you go back to Dak Prescott when he's healthy? This is an interesting question, but do you make that move? Yeah. Cooper Rush, they got the momentum.
Yeah, you go back to Dak for sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah.
Done short leash.
Nah, you're not.
He get in there, he start doing, what he's done in years past, doing the old Dallas Cowboy faithful, where you just, you fuck things up towards the end of the year and you barely make the playoffs or losing the playoffs. Like, if those signs start to creep up a little bit earlier, then I think you give Cooper Rush a shot. And, I think what we're seeing right now is Cooper Rush is just making a name for himself, and he's earning some stock in a lot of other teams too for next year. So
could be looking at a starting position somewhere else.
I wouldn't say all that. I think you look at this is more of a testament to how different their pass rush is. They have the best pass rush in the NFL, one of the best pass rushes we've ever seen. So that is more of a testament to their defense, I think. And then you look at the teams they played, Washington, and then I think the pass rush won them that Bengals game for sure. And then the Giants, a team that I'm not expecting anything out of this year. I think the biggest test for them is going to be when they play the Eagles in 2 weeks. I think they can beat the Rams, especially the way we've seen the Rams
struggle offensively
today. So I think because they have one of the best units, arguably the best unit out of any unit in the NFL in their pass rush, that's going to be able to be the difference maker when they play teams who have bad offensive lines or who just cannot account for the tenacity that they're going to see on every single fucking play from that pass rush.
Yeah, when you got a guy like Micah Parsons who is just unblockable. And not only is he unblockable in the first quarter, he's unblockable in every quarter.
And when you think you got him blocked, he's going to get off and make the sack if your quarterback holds the ball too long. It's like, it's ridiculous.
No, he's one of those guys with a motor that is not fazed by fatigue. Like, very few guys in the NFL can play every down at 100% speed. There's an unwritten code. Watching some podcasts with some former NFL players or former people in the trenches. There's an unwritten rule to some of the plays, especially when you get deep into 2 minute. Some guys start taking plays off. And it's almost psychological between the offensive defensive line. Micah Parsons doesn't take plays off. He doesn't. And that just shows you how much better of a player he is, just taking out face value. Let's look at Jordan Davis, the rookie from Georgia. Yeah. Plays a Philly right now. Motherfucker just gets too tired all the time. Great player, ran a 4.6 at 300 pounds. But he's got 0 sacks on the year. He's got 4 tackles. I mean, he's not doing much just because he just gets too fucking tired. And that doesn't really help the team.
Yeah, the Cowboys are great defensively. Another team, we talked about the Ravens, how they've been dominant running the ball, great defense as well. They've been blowing leads all year. First, it was the Dolphins. That was a historic blown lead. What is it, like 35 straight points the second half, something crazy. And then this week, they lose to Buffalo, another blown lead. Is this concerning for a team that has championship aspirations? John Harbaugh, is he possibly on the hot seat?
I don't think he is, just because the teams they're losing to and then the way they're losing. But you also look at the same thing that happened last year. They were losing a lot of one-score games, a lot of questionable mistakes he's made that have cost them games late in games. So it's up in the air on whose fault it is. I don't think you can blame Lamar because, I mean, damn. Outside of the 2 interceptions last week, I don't think the blame is on him. But yeah, anytime you give up a 17-point lead, somebody got to point the finger at somebody. Shit, multiple times this year already.
It's tough to see. Somebody got to be the blame for that.
Concept of a running quarterback or a scramble first quarterback, I believe, is defenses are figuring it out. And that's why I believe Baltimore is reluctant to pan these men. They have no data of quarterbacks succeeding long term, running quarterbacks succeeding long term. You have very few examples of a Tom Brady, of a Aaron Rodgers, people who have longevity in this league, who run the ball and are scramble first, or can do the inverted QB leads and shit like that. Very few have them happen, and you have to look at the data and make an objective decision about how much money somebody is worth. Obviously, when you just look at the fact that Lamar has an MVP, yes, he has playoff wins, yes, he's statistically better passer and rusher than any quarterback combined. So, I mean, just something to think about.
That contract gonna be stupid, though.
I don't agree with that at all, because you look at it where, at the market. And yeah, in the past, that hasn't been the quarterback, but you look at the future and where the NFL is heading, every quarterback is starting to be able to do both. And I think Lamar, every year, he's been able to improve as a passer. This year, he's been absolutely lighting it up, throwing the ball. So, not to mention the way he's running the ball. So I think he's continuing to evolve as a passer. As long as you have that aspect of your game, every quarterback is more athletic. You look at Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, obviously Lamar, Deshaun when he gets back, Patrick Mahomes, things he's able to do mobily, Russell back in his heyday, and even Joey B can get a little loose.
Get loose.
But the main thing has to be the main thing. You still have to be deadly in the pocket. And Lamar has proven this year specifically that he can do that, because his numbers in the pocket have been outstanding.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he seems like a champ. If you took his legs away, he seems like a championship quarterback just based off the numbers he's been putting up. I think you can't just take the foot off the gas. You got to hold the team down. When they're down, you got to bury them. It's a full team thing. It starts with coaching, but you got to look at defensive coordinators, see what we're doing wrong. You got to look at the DBs, see what the heck's going on. They've been playing good teams though, so I don't think we should definitely overreact. It's only 3 weeks into the year, but it's concerning, and it's definitely worth talking about. But is Harbaugh's ass on fire? No way.
I wouldn't say I'm not saying that Lamar Jackson isn't balling. The motherfucker's going stupid. But I am saying that the Baltimore Ravens have reason to believe, or reason to be concerned about, a Colin Kaepernick situation happening again.
What?
Because Colin Kaepernick was the best rushing quarterback and passing quarterback, and then found his ass on the bench not too long after.
Cam Newton's another example. It's tough to compare Colin Kaepernick And Lamar,
Yeah,
though.
Lamar is a way better
So
talent than everybody you mentioned.
Lamar got an MVP.
Yeah, and he's on track to
Lamar ain't never
every
been to
year
the
he's
Super Bowl.
played, he's been on track.
Kaepernick went to the Super Bowl.
This is what his fourth. This is his fourth year in the league, and all he's done is got better year over year.
I feel you. I love him. I love watching.
The reason they're not in the Super Bowl is not because of him, in my opinion.
I don't think so either. But another quarterback who's doing it at a similar level to Lamar, the rushing attack and the throwing, Jalen Hurts is doing his thing this year. The Eagles are 4-0. How confident are you in this Eagles team to go far to the Super Bowl possibly? And looking at the Cowboys kind of climbing up that NFC East as well, who are you taking in that division?
Man, I might like the Cowboys because we haven't seen the Eagles face a front that they haven't dominated. So I want to see them in a situation where they're playing one of the best defenses like the Niners, like the Cowboys, where they really we got to show what they really are capable of under stress, because we haven't seen that so far this year. So I like to see them against the Cowboys and the Niners, teams like that are really stout up front. But if they can show how physical and dominant their offensive line is, their run game is, and then the way Jalen Hurts has been able to throw the ball, they look like by far the best team in the NFL.
Not close either. Throwing him deep balls, that's what everybody was questioning him on, was, hey, can he throw it deep? And bringing A.J. Brown in, Devontae Smith can go catch a 70-yard pass. Got too many weapons.
I'm not sold on Philly. I'm not sold on them at all. I see Arizona last year.
Huh?
Arizona last year went 8-0, 9-0.
This team is built for tough, but Arizona was flashing.
Yeah. I think the Eagles, from top to bottom, they're a complete team. They might not be the best in the league. They're definitely going to win their division, in my opinion. And I mean, signed, sealed, delivered. I'm sold on the Eagles. I love them.
Now, we talked a little about the best team in the NFC. Let's get to the best team in the AFC right now. It's got to be the Chiefs. It's fluid, like Stephen A. Smith says. Every week there's a better team in the AFC. But right now, it's looking like the Chiefs. They look good defensively, offensively. I know Mecole Hardman didn't have too good of a game. Jacob was a little blue about that. But everybody else did have a good game that was spreading the ball around. I really like this Chiefs team. What are your thoughts on them so far?
Chiefs are really good, man. I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes, best in the business. Their defense is looking better and better every week too. So they're definitely the scariest team right now. Besides maybe Buffalo, if they can figure some stuff out. But yeah, I mean, I definitely have the Chiefs as my number one.
Yeah, if Tua didn't get that concussion, I may be saying the Dolphins, because they maybe beat the Bengals if he didn't get that concussion.
When did we give up on the fucking Bills?
They're secondary, bro.
Secondary's beat up.
Sit up here and say the Bills are number one week, and then they get a couple guys hurt on defense, and then all of a sudden you change your mind to the Chiefs. No, you have to come up with some objective facts that dictate what makes the team the best in the AFC. And I don't see it with the Chiefs. I still see it with the Bills. Yeah, you got to look at it from a constrained or unconstrained view. Do they have injuries? Do they have issues on the offensive line and shit like that? Like, you have to be able to objectively tell, in the long. Are we just talking about right now? Or are we talking about come wild card season, come fucking week 3 in the playoffs?
If we talk about week 3 in the playoffs, are you still taking the Bills then?
Yeah.
You're taking Sean McDermott and Josh Allen over Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes? We know what happened last year and the year before.
Yeah, and they changed the rule because of that bullshit. Like, all I'm saying is we know who has the best defense in the league. We know who has the best offensive firepower.
Eh,
That's the Bills.
And the Chiefs. You look at Mahomes' evolution and the way he's distributing the ball this year, and the way they've been able to protect him and run the ball better than they have throughout their campaign together. This is a really impressive Chiefs team, and then the unique talent they have on the pass rush.
You can tell me
take
one
them very
person on
far.
the Chiefs defense, I'll agree with you.
What? Are you joking right now? Eric Reed is their safety. We could start there.
Okay.
We could go into the D line. You already know who I'm going to say.
Jones,
Chris
Frank
Jones
Clark.
is arguably one of the best interior pass rushers in the league. And then Frank Clark was a great addition last year. And then that young linebacker they have,
Bolton. Nick
Bolton.
Bolton.
Yes,
yeah,
he is nice. He's nice. So, and one of the best defensive coordinators, very underrated. You look at the game he called against Tom Brady. I mean, come on now, Spagnuolo, that boy is different. So
that game versus Tampa Bay sold it for me.
Exactly, they just blew out a team. With the Buccaneers have one of the best defenses in the league. Let's not get it twisted. They cut through them at will. They put up 41 on one of the best defenses in the league.
Yeah, that was very, very impressive because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers may be a shell of their Super Bowl season, but that defense is still as good. And to drop 41 on them, they probably haven't been dropped 41 on in the past, two years, have they? Like, I mean, check the stats on that. And like you said, with the D coordinator, Tom Brady just looked deflated that whole game. I mean, he has been seeming like he's been deflated this whole season. Nothing really spectacular has come out of him this year so far, but to go out and just completely shut down the GOAT, the greatest of all time, is notable for sure.
Now, Monday Night Football happened today. We're filming this Monday night, right after the game. What were our thoughts on Monday Night Football? The Rams struggled. 49ers look good as always against the Rams in the regular season. How do you guys feel about the 49ers and the Rams?
I think the 49ers, for one, continue to show that their best units, offensive line, defensive line, play calling, are still one of the best in the league. And year over year, no matter who's in at certain positions, they still fucking win and find ways to win in the modern era that is uncommon. So you couple that with the Rams. I mean, I think the biggest takeaway for us is they're top heavy as fuck. They got all the big names, all these future first ballot Hall of Famers, but they don't have a well-rounded team. And you see it on the offensive line specifically. They can't run the ball for shit. They got one receiver, and then Higbee's a solid tight end, but Matthew Stafford continues to throw more picks than touchdowns. That defense is getting gashed all game. They're taking chances and creating huge, big plays. So I think this team has a lot of holes, and it'll be interesting to see if they can fix it. And I think they can, but as of today, I don't think I would expect them to repeat.
Yeah, McVay, he's a great coach. I'm going to give him some time. They're going to be able to put it together once they get a little healthier too. Possibly Odell come back. You know, that's still a possibility because they need him.
They need him bad.
What's their biggest problem? I mean, I can't really put my finger. Is it just cumulatively everything, or like what's preventing them from being that getting hot later on in the year?
I think it's number one, their offensive line. They can't protect Matt. Number two, they have no deep threat. Cooper Kupp is that guy that middle of the field guy, that high volume guy, and then they don't have nobody to take the top off the team, the field. That's what they struggle with tonight. And then defensively, I mean, fuck, pick your poison. Do they do anything well? They're all probably middle of the pack defense this year.
Yeah.
So statistically, they're ass defensively, and although they have all these future Hall of Famers.
Yeah. I mean, they have Bobby Wagner knocking out the dudes on the sidelines, running on the field and shit. They said he played harder on that than he did on the whole job. That's just tough to see. But in great news, I know we're locked into the NFL season like me and Jaden mentioned, but the NBA preseason is here. Ben Simmons played tonight. He had a nice little dunk. He was getting booed at the free throw line by some Sixers fans in Brooklyn. But how do you feel about this Nets team? Ben Simmons being in there throwing dimes. They look nice from what I've seen in 5 minutes they played together.
Arguably the best starting five in any team in the NBA. I mean, when healthy, I think the Nets can compete with anybody because of their length, their versatility, and then their guys that they could just hand it to and go say, go get a bucket. And then they got creators in transition. And you saw that tonight in the preseason game, the highlights. I mean, once they got, Ben Simmons and Claxton could be anchors defensively, and then they can get once they get going, who's going to stop that fast break?
Bubble TJ Warren. They still got TJ Warren. He's healthy. He was dropping 50 in the bubble. If he comes out, it will be a problem for the East.
The bubble might as well been a metaverse. That shit don't count.
Ultra universe.
All right, that shit don't count.
I think the Nets will find a way to fuck it up, just like they usually do. You got too many different egos and personalities on that team. I think basketball, you got 5 guys, man. It's not football. All of those guys got to be a well-oiled machine, firing at the same time through the same cylinders, man. It's when you got guys going different directions, you're gonna lose it no matter who you're playing. So,
yeah, if you're picking Brooklyn to win, I think you're underestimating the amount of mental toughness you need to have in the playoffs.
Mental fortitude to win a championship.
Niggas don't have it.
Well, if you just play them in the finals, that'll be a mismatch from hell for the Warriors. Let me say that.
It's so great to have all these sports back. NBA's back, NFL, college football's booming, all at the same time. We're going to be covering it all, but that's all we got for the show today. Hopefully we can have our special guest back on, possibly for the next episodes. Love the work you guys put in. Come on, you're ready. Took you a minute to get in your rooms and stuff, but it's cool. It's cool. Yeah, we love having you guys on. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Keep checking out the YouTube. Keep checking out the Instagram and Twitter, 6Man Blitz. It's hella content's coming out every day. But like I said, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. As always, peace.